Welcome back to the deep dive. So our mission, as always, is to sift through all these sources you've sent over, pull out the really crucial bits, and basically make sense of a complex topic.
Exactly. Clear, actionable insight. That's the goal.
And today we're zeroing in on someone really interesting in the global entertainment scene, Russell Peters.
Ah, yes. A comedy powerhouse.
My huge.
Global trailblazer, actually.
Right, but his success, especially, the scale of it financially and culturally, it often feels kind of underappreciated, particularly in the U.S. mainstream.
That difference in recognition is, I think, what makes this deep dive so fascinating. We're not just talking about any comedian.
No.
This is someone who didn't just, adapt to the digital age. He was actively pioneering strategies within it.
Okay.
Our sources really lay out how this Anglo-Indian Canadian comedian kind of used his unique background, plus the early power of YouTube, to basically sidestep the usual gatekeepers.
And become this, undeniable international mogul.
Mogul is the right word.
And when we say mogul, we should probably anchor that right away. Give some context.
Good idea.
Let's hit that financial shock factor straight off, because if you ask most people, say, in North America, who are the highest paid comedians back in the 2010s, I'm not sure Peters would even make their top 5.
Probably not. But the numbers tell a different story, don't they? You look at those Forbes rankings, mid-2010s, 2013. Forbes estimated his earnings for the year at, a staggering $21 million.
$21 million, wow.
Which put him squarely at number 3, globally. Right up there with, Seinfeld, Chris Rock, giants.
But his money was coming from different places, right?
Totally different. It was global, fueled by selling out massive venues, stadiums almost, but outside that typical U.S. circuit.
And that financial success, it was built on something else, too, digital foresight.
Absolutely crucial. He wasn't out there chasing TV deals or movie roles first, not primarily.
No, the sources are clear. He has this really distinct, pioneering status. He was the first comedian ever to get a Netflix stand-up special.
Think about that. Years before Netflix became the go-to distributor for basically every major comic.
He saw it coming. He understood that controlling how your content gets out there, that was the new power play.
Exactly. He built this massive following outside the old structures, and then the industry had to come to him. They couldn't ignore his global reach.
Okay, so to really get that reach, we need to go back. Start at the beginning.
Let's unpack those foundations. What actually built this brand?
Right, so the basics. Russell Dominic Peters, born September 29th, 1970, Toronto, Canada. But the really key part here is his heritage, isn't it?
It's central. His parents, Eric and Maureen Peters, they were immigrants, and specifically of Anglo-Indian descent.
Anglo-Indian, explain that a bit.
Well, they came to Canada in '65 from Jalandhar in Kolkata in India, and Anglo-Indian describes this specific community. Shared cultural history, often feeling, connected but also separate from both mainstream Indian culture and mainstream Western culture.
So, a foot in both worlds.
Exactly. That dual identity gives him this unique perspective. He's an insider and an outsider at the same time. Perfect spot for observing and, commenting on both.
And he was raised Catholic.
Yeah, which is pretty common in the Anglo-Indian community.
Yeah.
It does contrast sharply with his later atheism, which we can get into, but it shows a background steeped in very specific cultural traditions.
Okay. And the family moved.
Yeah, to Brampton, big city just west of Toronto when he was about 4. He went to Chinguacousy Secondary, then North Peel Secondary.
And school. School wasn't easy for him, based on the sources.
No, not at all. It sounds like he was bullied pretty regularly, consistently. And specifically because of his ethnicity.
That's not just, a footnote in his bio. It feels pretty crucial, right? For understanding maybe his comedy, his stage presence later on.
Oh, absolutely. It's huge. And his reaction to it tells you a lot about his resilience.
What did he do?
He didn't retreat. He learned to box.
Boxing?
Yeah. So he wasn't just learning to defend himself physically. He learned how to be proactive, almost aggressive, when facing attack.
Oh.
And if you listen to his comedy now, especially the observational stuff, maybe even the insult comedy, you can kind of see echoes of that, with resilience fighting back. But now with, quick wit and words as his defense.
So transforming that pain, that experience of having to literally stand his ground against prejudice into his material, using those same cultural observations that caused the bullying, but now for laughs.
It seems like it. And while he's building this, tough exterior, he's also soaking up the culture around him. By the 90s, Peters was actually a pretty well-connected DJ.
A DJ?
Yeah, in the Toronto hip-hop scene, which was pretty competitive.
Why is that important?
It shows he had this broader background,
Right.
not just the usual stand-up club grind. He was plugged into urban culture, music, the fast pace of DJing.
Reading a crowd.
Exactly. Reading crowds, thinking fast. Skills that translate perfectly to stand-up comedy.
Okay, so resilience from boxing, crowd control from DJing, and then he starts formal stand-up in '89 in Toronto.
Yep. But the thing that really, really set him on this path to, like, global domination is a piece of advice from a legend,
George Carlin.
the man himself. He met Carlin in 1992. Carlin was one of his biggest influences. He always says that.
And the advice.
Classic Carlin, old school, just relentless.
Yeah.
Get on stage whenever and wherever possible.
Sounds simple, but I mean, everyone wants stage time. How did Peters make that work differently? How did he really take it to heart?
Well, it wasn't just about booking gigs. It was about constant refinement. Carlin's advice was basically a command to build muscle memory.
Okay.
Learn how to read any room, especially diverse ones. Adapt material instantly. Develop jokes until they were absolutely bulletproof.
And Canada's diversity probably helped there?
Huge advantage. He embraced that grind, playing to these smaller, super diverse Canadian crowds. They taught him how to connect culturally. That dedication, performing constantly, it built the stamina he needed later for those insane world tours.
It's the difference between someone who writes jokes and someone who lives comedy on the road, perfecting it through sheer volume.
And Peters himself says, this one piece of advice,
Yeah.
that's the reason for his success. He credits it directly.
Wow. And there was that full circle moment too, right?
Yeah, really powerful. 15 years later, 2007, Peters actually hosted one of George Carlin's final shows.
No way.
Yeah. It just kind of solidified that early mentorship. Shows that even in this chaotic business, taking solid advice seriously can literally build an empire.
Which brings up a question maybe for you listening to this deep dive.
Where-
Carlin's advice came from a pre-internet era, right? Stage time was everything.
Right.
Is that kind of relentless grinding still necessary today?
Yeah.
When digital content can find an audience almost instantly?
That's a great question. I think the sources suggest it's maybe a hybrid now. That foundational work, the stamina, the quality control he built on stage from Carlin's advice,
Yeah.
that's what made his digital content so good when the moment came.
So the advice built the engine.
And the internet provided the fuel.
Yeah.
He was ready because he'd spent like 2 decades just getting good everywhere. Which brings us right to that pivot point.
Okay, so he had the road experience, the unique viewpoint, the work ethic. But going from successful Canadian comic to like actual global phenomenon, that dates to one specific digital event, doesn't it?
Yeah, the sources pinpoint it clearly. It's his 2004 special on that Canadian TV show, Comedy Now.
Comedy Now, and this is where the business side gets really interesting because his viral success wasn't from some big corporate push.
Not at all. It was audience-driven.
Mm-hmm.
And technically piracy.
Piracy built his career.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole 45-minute special got uploaded to YouTube. And YouTube back then, 2004, it was still kind of the Wild West, right?
Right.
Less regulated.
Right.
But what's really fascinating is how people consumed it. The audience basically took control of distribution.
How sick.
Users started chopping it up, segmenting it, re-uploading just the bits focused on specific cultural jokes.
Like just the Indian jokes or just the Chinese jokes?
Exactly. Stuff like that. Routines about different immigrant groups. It was completely organic, super targeted, and incredibly effective marketing, even though it wasn't planned.
Wait, how did he know it was actually working and not just, people stealing his stuff?
Well, Peters noticed something crucial. These chopped up clips weren't just getting views. They were generally being really well received by the actual cultural groups they were about.
Okay. That's key.
Vital distinction. It wasn't the mainstream laughing at these groups. It was the diaspora communities themselves watching these clips, sharing them, and feeling kind of seen, validated maybe?
Yeah.
Through this cultural shorthand he was using.
It confirmed his brand of heritage humor hit home with those specific communities
Right.
globally.
Which explains why he wasn't actually mad at the pirates.
Yeah, he famously called them out, but kind of affectionately, right? In his outsourced special in 2006.
That's the one. Pointed at the crowd and yelled, "Look at you, you filthy downloaders." It was this great, funny nod to how powerful the audience had become, basically admitting that unauthorized sharing and audience-led segmentation had, in fact, built his empire.
That's got to be one of the earliest examples of a big entertainer just embracing digital disruption instead of fighting it.
Totally. And that digital buzz turned directly into, well, unprecedented money and audience numbers, mostly in the markets where those diaspora communities were strong.
Asia, the UK, Australia, Canada.
Exactly. Look at the money trail again. $5 million a year before 2009. Then jumps massively to $15 million between 2009 and 2010. That got him ranked 7th by Forbes.
And then the peak we mentioned earlier.
Then $21 million in 2013, ranking 3rd.
Those numbers just scream global audience. It wasn't U.S. TV ad rates or big movie deals driving that. It was international ticket sales from fans who found him online.
That global reach is what makes him financially different. And the box office records he set, I mean, they're just mind-blowing. You really need to look closely at them.
We're talking arenas, right?
Mhm.
Not theaters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Places usually book for massive music acts, not stand-up comics.
Okay, paint a picture for us. Use the numbers. Help us get a sense of just how big this fan base was, especially given, his lower profile maybe in the U.S. back then.
Okay, start in Canada, his home turf.
Yeah.
He was the very first comedian ever to sell out Toronto's Air Canada Centre. That's the Scotiabank Arena now.
How many tickets?
Over 16,000 tickets for one show, sold in just 2 days.
16,000. Wow.
And that momentum meant over 30,000 tickets sold across Canada just during that initial sales period.
That's insane for comedy. And he did this elsewhere, too.
Absolutely. Duplicated globally. 2009, London. He breaks the UK comedy sales record at the O2 Arena. Over 16,000 tickets again, one show.
O2 Arena. That's huge.
Then a year later, 2010, Australia. He plays the biggest stand-up show ever down there, 13,880 people. Sydney.
13,000.
And then, crucially, Singapore Indoor Stadium, 2012, sets attendance records there too, which just confirms his massive appeal across that whole Asian market.
This isn't just selling out a club. It's selling out major concert venues worldwide in these really diverse, high-value markets.
He pioneered how to monetize that global diaspora in the digital age. Simple as that.
And beyond the stage, he started getting more mainstream recognition too, right? Hosting gigs.
Yeah, his profile definitely expanded. He hosted the Juno Awards, that's Canada's big music awards show. Did it 2 years running, 2008 and 2009.
Epica.
The 2008 show got the second highest ratings ever for a Juno broadcast, so clearly he had cross appeal.
And didn't he win an award for that?
He did, a Gemini Award, for Best Performance or Host in a Variety Program or Series. So industry recognition followed.
He was also doing some pretty serious stuff off stage too, USO tours.
Correct. In 2007, showed real commitment there. Went on a USO tour, traveling to actual conflict zones, military bases, Iraq, Afghanistan, Germany, Africa, even Greenland.
Performing for the troops?
Yeah, alongside other stars. It shows, genuine dedication, respect for service members.
And that core philosophy, the Carlin advice, the relentless touring, that's still going on, even after hitting those financial peaks.
Still going strong. Right now, he's on the RELX World Tour. Started late 2024, expected to wrap up June 2025 in Vegas.
Decades later, still grinding.
Seems like it. Even with all the success, all the money, the engine is still powered by that relentless global stage time.
Okay, now we got to dig into the core of it all, the actual comedy, the style.
Yeah.
Because that's what drove everything, but it's also where things get, well, complicated, high risk.
Definitely operating on a cultural razor's edge there.
Yeah.
His main genres, if you list them out, are kind of mixed.
Right.
Insult comedy for sure. Heritage comedy, that's key. Black comedy, observational stuff, satire, and he does a lot of improv too.
Versatile, but the insult and heritage stuff really defines him.
Absolutely. And his main topics are inherently sensitive, right? He's constantly dealing with the friction points in our multicultural world.
Racism, race relations, stereotypes.
India, multiculturalism itself, Asian culture, Western culture. The stakes are automatically high when you wade into that territory.
So how does he do it? What's the method?
It seems pretty systematic. He uses humor to point out these racial, ethnic, class, cultural stereotypes. But, and this is important, he always grounds it in his own background.
His Anglo-Indian family growing up in Canada's melting pot.
Exactly. And he famously uses impersonated accents of different ethnic groups. His phrasing is he does it to poke fun at them.
Okay, poke fun. But accents and stereotypes, that's tricky ground. How does he justify that? Especially connecting it back to that idea of raising groups up seems contradictory.
It is the central paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a 2006 interview, he talked about this directly, said his intention was explicitly not to offend or put people down.
But to raise them up through humor.
Right. He seemed to see it as a form of cultural recognition, maybe a shared release through laughter.
And he has that one line, that philosophical shield he uses against criticism.
Ah, yes. The crucial quote, I don't make the stereotypes, I just see them.
The classic observational comics defense.
Pretty much, he's claiming he's just holding up a mirror to stuff that's already out there.
Yeah.
Societal quirks, cultural patterns. He's not inventing the prejudice, just reporting on it.
Reacting to the facts on the ground, which ties back to his preference for facts over beliefs we'll talk about later.
Exactly.
Let's get specific, though. His signature punchlines, they really show the two sides of his style, don't they? The personal story versus the outside observation.
They do. The first one, probably the most famous, somebody gonna get hurt real bad.
Where does that come from?
That's pure heritage comedy, rooted in his personal experience. It's from
Yeah.
a joke about his childhood, his traditional Indian dad, and corporal punishment.
Oof, okay.
But the humor works globally because, even though it's specific to his family, that idea of a stern, maybe authoritarian parent, that resonates across cultures. It feels defensive, relatable, very personal.
Got it. Then the other big one, be a man, do the right thing. That feels different. Less personal, more like he's critiquing something outside himself.
Yeah, that one's based more on observation. It comes from a story about watching a Chinese man trying to haggle, but haggle for higher prices in a shop.
Oh, right. I remember that bit.
So it's about social etiquette, maybe cultural differences in how people transact business. It's a quick, catchy phrase capturing a moment of cultural clash or behavior he witnessed. The observation is the punchline there.
Okay, this brings us back to that big question then. Why did the global audience, especially those diaspora groups who are sharing those YouTube clips, why did they seem to accept and even celebrate his use of accents and stereotypes? It seems counterintuitive.
I think the key is his identity and the way the comedy works.
Yeah.
Because Peters himself is a person of color, specifically Anglo-Indian.
Coming from within Canada's multicultural setup.
Right, so his material often gets viewed as like an internal critique, or at least a discussion among peers.
So when he does an Indian accent,
It's the son of immigrants, maybe mimicking his own family, his own community. When he talks about other Asian cultures or other immigrant groups, he's speaking kind of as a peer, someone who gets the shared immigrant experience in the West.
it's like cultural shorthand. He's saying things out loud that maybe those communities already think or joke about privately.
Precisely. It validates that shared experience. It allows the humor maybe to bridge differences because people feel seen.
Like group therapy disguised as stand-up.
Kind of. The audience feels some ownership over the joke, which explains why those chopped-up YouTube clips took off within those specific communities. The laughter is maybe a release of cultural tension, and Peters, being an insider, is the one facilitating it.
That makes sense for the stand-up success. But he didn't stop there. He used that fame strategically, didn't he? Became a broader entertainment figure, a producer.
Yeah, his role as a serious producer is maybe the biggest surprise when you look at his whole career. Shows he's much more than just the guy on stage.
What's the main example?
He was a producer on that really well-regarded documentary series, Hip Hop Evolution.
Ah, yeah, that ran for a while.
16 episodes, 2016 to 2020. And this connects right back to his early days as a DJ in Toronto.
Right. Shows his knowledge of that scene was legit, deep, and authentic.
And the awards that series picked up, they really cemented his status as a critically acclaimed executive, not just a comic.
Big awards.
Massive. Hip Hop Evolution won a Peabody Award.
Peabody. Wow, that's prestigious.
Hugely prestigious. Reserved for the most powerful, enlightening stuff in media. And critically, it also won the International Emmy Award for Best Arts Programming in 2017.
An International Emmy and a Peabody for a serious documentary.
Yeah, that's a long way from somebody who could get hurt real bad, right?
It proves he has this strategic intelligence, this seriousness as a cultural commentator and a content creator.
That contrast is striking. Juggernaut stand-up, making millions from stereotype jokes, and also this serious award-winning documentary producer shows real versatility and planning. Definitely long-term career planning. We should also look at his albums and books because his early financial success ties into some smart distribution moves there too.
Like outsourced.
Yeah, his first big comedy DVD album, Outsourced, from 2006. Sold over 100,000 copies. Stayed on the national DVD charts for like a year and a half. Massive hit.
But the next special was the really key business move, right? The one that links to those Forbes numbers.
That's the one. His 2008 special, Red, White, and Brown. The significant thing there, it was self-produced.
He financed it himself.
Him and his brother, Clayton Peters, who's also his manager. They financed it themselves.
Why is that such a big deal? Self-financing.
Because in comedy, owning your own material, retaining the rights, that's everything. By self-producing, They controlled the intellectual property. They owned the master tapes.
Meaning they controlled all the future money from it?
Exactly. All the residual income from distributing it globally, licensing it. They kept it all. That control over his own global content pipeline, that's the direct mechanical reason he could pull in those $15 million, $21 million estimates later on. No big studio taking a huge cut.
That shows serious business sense. He realized the global audience he built online was his most valuable asset, and he needed to own the product they wanted.
Smart move. Separately, he also dipped into the book world. Co-wrote his autobiography, Call Me Russell, with his brother Clayton and Danis Koromelis. That came out in 2010.
And he got official recognition in Canada, too.
Yeah, as sort of a nod to his status as this truly global Canadian export, he got inducted onto Canada's Walk of Fame in 2011.
So, producer, author.
Yeah.
But he acts, too. His acting career is pretty extensive, actually.
It is. Shows he's committed to being, like, a full-spectrum entertainer. His film list shows a clear progression.
From smaller parts?
Yeah, early on, lots of cameos. Like, he played an obstetrician in My Baby's Daddy back in 2004, or Dr. Sharma in The Take in 2007. All this.
But then he started getting into bigger studio films.
Right. He played Max Denoff, remember him? The kind of jerky amateur comedian in that sci-fi thriller Source Code. That was 2011.
Oh, yeah. With Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's the one. And he was the Miami cop in Jon Favreau's movie, Chef.
Great movie.
Yeah. And he did voice work, too. He was Rocky, the Indian Rhino, in the Disney Jungle Book remake in 2016.
Those feel like smart supporting roles. Using his voice, his timing, but not trying to carry a whole movie, maybe.
It's like a strategic choice, yeah. Capitalize on what makes him distinct without diluting the stand-up persona that's his core brand.
And TV. He keeps showing up on TV, too.
Absolutely. Guest spots on shows like Mr. D voice roles on big animated hits like Bob's Burgers, Family Guy.
And more recently.
He's been pretty active judging on Roast Battle Canada. That started in 2021.
Right.
And he's listed as an executive producer on a new series called Late Bloomer, which just started in 2024.
So, keeping busy. Multiple irons in the fire across different parts of the entertainment world. Staying relevant on different platforms.
Definitely keeps his hand in.
Okay, let's wrap things up by touching on his personal life, his community work, and his cool beliefs.
Right. Well, the kind of success we've been talking about, it obviously comes with a certain lifestyle. He's got multiple homes.
Weird outs.
2 places in LA, apparently, plus homes in the Las Vegas area, Nevada, and also back near Toronto in Vaughan, Ontario. So really operates globally.
But what stands out, maybe goes back to his roots, is his philanthropy, using that wealth to support the community where he grew up.
Yeah, that's really commendable, specifically his focus on education back in Brampton.
He set up a scholarship.
Yes, in 2010, the Russell Peters North Peel Scholarship. And it feels really targeted.
Yeah.
Really meaningful.
Not just a token amount either, right?
Yeah.
It's substantial.
It really is. The award's worth up to $21,000 Canadian, intended to fund up to 3 years of college for a student.
From his old high school.
Yeah. Exactly. From North Peel Secondary, which is now called Judith Nyman Secondary. And the criteria are clear. Strong academic record. It feels like a very direct way of giving back, maybe addressing some of the challenges he faced himself during his school years there, uplifting that community.
Okay. Now, his personal life, relationships. The sources suggest it's been, well, complex, like many public figures constantly on the road.
That seems fair to say. His first marriage was to Monica Diaz. They got married pretty quickly, August 2010 in Vegas, right after getting engaged.
And he commented on the timing?
Yeah, he was quoted saying the marriage was expedited because she was pregnant. Their daughter, Christiana Marie Peters, was born later that year, December 2010.
But the marriage didn't last long.
No, they divorced in 2012. Relatively quick.
Then there was another engagement.
Brief one, yeah. Announced in 2016 to Rosanna Ketchian, but that was later called off.
Okay.
After that, he was in a relationship with Jennifer Andrade. She was Miss Universe Honduras in 2012. They had a son together, Russell Santiago Peters, born in 2019.
But they separated too.
Yeah, relationship ended in 2020. And most recently, he got married again to Ali Peters in February 2022, down in Dana Point, California.
Okay. Finally, let's talk about his religious views. Because he often seems to link his beliefs, or lack thereof, to how he approaches comedy.
Right, so raised Catholic, as we mentioned. But he's been very clear publicly that he is now an atheist.
And he frames it philosophically.
Yeah, consistently.
Yeah.
Rooted in observable reality, science, facts, rather than faith or belief.
Didn't Larry King ask him about taboo subjects in comedy?
Yes. And his answer really highlights this preference for facts over beliefs.
What did he say?
He explained he generally avoids religious humor. Why? Because, quote, People are a little weird about religion, and I'm more of a science guy than I am a beliefs guy. I'm more into facts than I am into beliefs.
That fits perfectly with his whole observational style, doesn't it?
Totally consistent.
Yeah.
He analyzes what he sees, the facts of cultural behavior, the stereotypes he observes, rather than getting into challenging people's fundamental beliefs like the core tenets of faith.
It's the ultimate framework for a comedian who relies so heavily on meticulous observation. Hashtag tag tag outro.
So, okay, when you pull it all together, synthesize this whole journey, what really comes through is this picture of a uniquely strategic entertainer.
Yeah. He took that core advice from Carlin, relentless performing,
Combined it with his unique Anglo-Indian perspective.
and then made that incredibly smart strategic pivot, weaponizing the freedom of early YouTube.
Exactly. And that let him build this truly global audience, completely sidestepping the traditional U.S. media machine.
Turned digital buzz into selling out stadiums, breaking records, becoming a Forbes top earner.
And then he kind of validated his cultural smarts with that serious, acclaimed production work. The Peabody, the Emmy, proving he's a genuine entertainment mogul, capable of both the high-risk comedy and high-minded documentaries.
So for a comedian who explicitly said he tries to, quote, raise races up through humor, not put them down, it leaves you with a question, right?
Definitely. What is the lasting value of his kind of observational, accent-heavy comedy? Does it actually bridge cultural divides in our super-globalized digital world? Or does it sometimes exploit them?
Did the laughter truly raise people up, or did the massive success maybe complicate that original intention?
The challenging thought to leave you, the listener, with. Maybe the answer is somewhere in the tension between his two most famous punchlines.
Right. Where does his real comedic soul lie? Is it more in that relatable personal story, rooted in family and defense? Somebody gonna get hurt real bad?
Or is it more that external observational critique focused on social correction? Be a man, do the right thing.
Which one reflects him more? That duality. Yeah, that's something to mull over.
Well, thanks for diving deep with us into the incredible and kind of complex world of Russell Peters.
We'll see you next time.